Hello, everyone, and you are live with Professor Bats and Friends, bringing you the Overland podcast. Hope everyone is having a great week. It's Taco Tuesday here in September in Arkansas, and Tony and I are getting together. Going to talk about transitioning from summer to winter setups. Here we go. Thank you for joining us on the Overland Podcast, brought to you by Professor Bats and Friends. We love to talk about it all. The gear we like to use, the places we like to go, and the things we like to do. Sometimes we'll have guests. Sometimes it'll be just us. You never know what you might get. But you always have Bats Off-Road and the Professor. Thank you for joining us. No pros, just bros on this show. Here we go.
Hey, buddy.
It's a good week so far. Good week so far. Glad that you are here. And we're going to get some listeners here pretty soon. We just went live on this recording of the Overland Podcast. You are watching Professor Bats and Friends.
What's happening? How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. You doing okay?
I'm doing all right. It's a good week. I'm super excited.
Are you?
The weather has finally began to cooperate.
Yeah, the weather's finally cooperating. Before we got on here a while ago, Gia and I were actually able to sit out on the back porch and on the patio and with PJ and let her run around a little bit, and it was nice. And I told her, I said, it is finally nice to be able to sit outside and not just die.
Oh yeah.
So,
even in the morning.
Oh, the mornings.
Like early in the mornings, get when it's cool and take a cup of coffee out.
So
yes.
Nice. We went to the Ouachitas this past weekend and went to the Crystal Mines and dug around, and we stayed in a national forest campground on the way. And I fought a coon in the middle of the night, ate PJ's food. I got a good video of it I have to show you, but yeah, I got in our trash and then I got my gun out and it ran off. But it was a really nice spot right on the Ouachita Lake. We got the lake is really down. It's probably about 20, 30 feet low.
Oh, wow.
And, it wasn't the most beautiful because the water wasn't up, but it was still a really nice spot. And then we went and dug for crystals on Saturday. And then we came back through Mount Ida, headed back toward the house, and we saw this little place called, I think it was River Cliff. I can't remember what the name of it was. River Cliff Recreation Area or something like that. Right on the Ouachita River. And it was just a fantastic spot. We were out there for, 7, 8, 9 hours and saw maybe 2 cars.
River Bluff.
Yeah, it was really.
I had to pull the app because you told me how nice this place was, and I when I opened it was still right there.
Yeah, I saved it too because I said, this is a place I'm going to come back. I was actually able to do some fly fishing. I caught several fish, caught a pretty decent smallmouth. It wasn't like great or anything I was going to mount or anything, but catching it on a ultralight fly rig made it pretty amazing. It was fun.
Yeah.
So that was pretty cool. We got to sit down on the gravel bar and have a picnic, and it was really nice. It was just really nice.
Man, I can't wait to get out.
We're coming off a pretty good weekend with Go Explore USA in Kentucky. We traveled to Kentucky with Brad and the gang. There was about 21 of us there. You took some amazing shots. You actually just sent those to us in the past couple of days, and I was able to get on there and download a few of those and look at those. Those were really, really cool. So you've got your little @ up there for your Instagram. Everybody make sure and follow Bats Off-Road Media and Go Explore USA, and you'll get some great shots from the Kentucky Adventure. Is it trail or tour? Kentucky Adventure
Tour. Kentucky Adventure Tour, I think
Okay.
is the way Brad explained it.
Okay. Well, um, it was fun. It was fun. Really enjoyed it. It was a long ways over there. Lord have mercy. 700 miles. We left at 4:30. Got there at 3:30 the next morning. Got Kent set up in about 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Went to sleep. Got about 3 hours sleep. Got up, cooked breakfast, and you hit the trail. It
Oh
was
yeah.
it
Yeah,
was
it
good.
was up and at it, up and at 'em early. Did you happen to see that video that Kara sent to
I
us
saw that
today?
she sent it, but I wasn't able to watch it. I didn't. I haven't watched it yet. That was one
Okay.
after she got all the ticks on her, wasn't it?
Yes, yes. I was just dumbfounded because I mean that the whole spot of ticks looked like a moving, like a just a dirt spot that was sort of
Wow,
moving on her leg, and
that's
it was
crazy.
incredible. But yeah, I guess Matt, when she changed, she had shorts on, so she pulled her pants off, and Matt put them away for her, and he put them inside the truck.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. And so she gets on the radio and she's like, Matt, where did you put my pants? He's like, well, I put them inside behind the driver's seat. She's like, oh, no, 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 no. Stop, time out. You're not doing that. So they stopped. And because what y'all don't realize yet is at that point in the trail, Matt and Bryce had switched driver seats. So
hmm
Bryce was driving the Gladiator with Kara as a passenger. And so she was talking to Matt, and he was driving the Defender, Bryce's Defender. And yeah, anyway, so
Seed ticks are of the devil. I mean, they are awful.
I know,
Um,
I know.
I brought one home, and it was 3 days after we got home before I found it. I mean,
Oh
they are of the
no,
devil. Of the devil. I can't stand
oh
those things.
no.
Now, this weekend, we have a pretty good weekend plan. I'm coming up to Northwest Arkansas, coming to your house. We're going to do some rewiring on the FJ, change a few things up. I've got some issues with wiring and charging and all that other stuff that I want to fix before the prime camping season this year. And I love how meticulous you are with things and how you like to do things right the first time. And I am probably the absolute worst electrician on the planet, and so that will be great that we're able to do that. So I appreciate you helping me out there.
Yeah,
So
man, I'm looking forward just to seeing you and hanging out in the garage and uh, working on the FJ. So
yeah, well, we got several things coming up on the calendar that I wanted you to share with the listeners that we have coming up. It's going to be a pretty fun start to the fall. So share that with
yeah, sir. All right. So weekend after next, we got the Big Iron Overland Rally coming up at West Mineral. I guess it's Big Brutus.
me.
Hey, Jared in the house.
Yeah.
Um, gonna get to
Oh,
see
Shop
Jared
Overland
and Kara.
Apparel sent us
Yeah,
some graphics today. We're going to actually have some flags at Rendezvous. We're going to be out there showing those up.
yeah,
My wife is on here. Hello, babe. Thank you for being here. Yep, she told me it was River Bluff. Sorry, I'm just now catching up. Jube is on here. Who taught you how to fly fish? And yeah, that was you. And I want to send you a picture of that because it'll make you proud. I actually got a lot of practice in this week.
yeah.
So thanks, Jude, for joining us live. He usually watches us on YouTube when we're done, but uh, thank you for
Nice.
being here.
So yeah, we got Big Iron coming up week after next. Super excited about that. The weather forecast for the weekend looks absolutely amazing.
Mm.
If you don't have your tickets, you need to get them now. We want to see you there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Rendezvous in the Ozarks coming up October 12th through the 15th at Mulberry Mountain Resort. Uh,
And this will be the first year that we have a booth. We're
yes.
actually going to
Yep.
have a Overland podcast booth, and
Yep.
we will be come by the booth because we want to talk to everybody. We'll actually be doing live recordings, asking you about Rendezvous, asking you about your setup, doing things like that. So we're going to be doing a lot of recordings. It's going to be a working weekend for us, and I'm really excited about this. We've never done this before. And
Yep.
so I'd like to get some people on that we've never, been able to schedule before, and
Yep.
go around and do some videos and things like that. I know you are the photographer for that week, so you'll be busy doing that, and we will have a booth. So I hope people come by and say hey to us, and uh, and we're going to have some giveaways. Did you know this?
I did not know this.
Yeah, we're going to have some giveaways. I have been contacted by a buddy of mine, Jarrett with Steadfast Overland,
Oh,
has sent us some stuff to give away. He sent us away some Brawler beard oil. I've
yeah.
got that. I've got some. Let's see what I've got here. I've got some title holder beard oil. I've got some rags, some stuff that you put down to put your beard oil on so you don't get it everywhere. I've got some of that stuff, and I've also got some Midland radios and other stuff that we're going to give away there at Rendezvous. So come by, and we'll be glad to get you signed up for that. Uh, yeah,
Awesome.
yeah, pretty cool.
There's Galen. Hey, buddy.
Hey, Galen.
Be seeing Galen next weekend. Let's see. What else we got? We got 2 Go Explore trips coming up in October. The women's only trip, and then the very next weekend is the regular fall trip. Both trips are full, but there's more in the works.
There is one in the works, and
Yeah.
Brad actually sent that date to us that he's actually going to share. And world premiere here without Brad's permission. It's actually going to be the weekend of Martin Luther King. So if you have that
Oh,
weekend open, you can sign up for that. It's going to be a weekend in the Ozarks. We go explore, and Tony will be there taking pictures.
yep.
I believe, a 3-day trip, and you posted almost 1,000 photos.
Yeah.
Almost
Yeah.
a
Now,
thousand photos.
now there was a fair amount of those were Kara's pictures, but
About a third of those were curious, but to
yeah,
have about 600 or 700 pictures, multiple routes, and at camp of you, your rig, all that, it is definitely something because most of the time on a trail, you're driving, you don't have somebody out there taking pictures. So it's really nice to have those, um, and when you go on a trip like this. So that makes it all worth it.
yeah,
So anyway, I'm excited about that. That'll be the first trip of the year to the Ozarks, and that's always a good time of the year to go in January. So make sure we're going to be talking about winter camping.
yeah.
So we're going to make
And
sure we got what we need to bring on that.
I'm really excited about one trip in particular that Brad's talking about, and you know, I'm just everybody make sure you go and you follow and get notifications for when these trips go live
Yeah,
because
it's going to be fun. It's going
they're
to be
gonna
fun.
be it's gonna be epic. Yeah,
It's going to be epic. It's going to be good. The people that Chris has come into Big Iron, it's going to be pretty cool too. I think if you like music, I think you'll really enjoy that. And
yeah.
Big Brutus, I saw they built a little small stage
They have
around
two
the
stages.
2 stages.
Yeah,
So they got a little small stage in the bucket.
yeah,
He and Rhino got that done this week, so that's going to be neat. It's
yeah.
going to be pretty
The
cool.
vendor area has moved.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah. Vendor area is also going to be down on the gravel, sort of around Big Brutus.
Oh, cool.
So yeah,
That's very cool. I like
yeah,
that. Good idea.
yeah,
Well, tonight we have a topic like we normally have. Trying to learn as much as we can and help those who watch or listen as much as they can as well about this lifestyle, about the overlanding lifestyle, camping, off-roading, whatever. And we're at a season. We're kind of at the end of the summer season, about to begin the fall season, which I believe is the best season of the year,
yeah,
especially in Arkansas. When you live in a place that has where you have to deal with extremely high humidity. Now, if you're out there listening and you're, from up in the UP or you're out west where you have, where it's more tropical or whatever, you don't have to deal with humidity. We have extremes when it comes to hot and cold. And so that really makes it where our springs and falls are pretty short. But a lot of times our winters are very mild. Summers
hmm
summers are not. But summer it gets to where you don't even want to go outside, much
Yeah.
less throw all your stuff in a hot box and stay in a tent for hours.
Right.
But there are times when we're able to, have a break and get out and enjoy Arkansas in the summer. Now, a lot of times we find a place somewhere else to go. A lot of people that live in Arkansas, you'll see them in Colorado, or like this summer, we went up into the UP, went way up north, or people go to higher elevations to escape the heat.
Yep.
But when it comes to having a summer, or the things that you put in your rig in the summer, uh, I want to talk about the things that you just do not leave home without. And the first thing that I thought of was a fan.
Yeah.
Never leave home without a fan. I have two Claymore fans. They do a great job. They charge well. Uh, Now they don't have any bells or whistles. You got one right there. See the bag.
Yeah. Yeah.
They don't have any bells or whistles on them. It's just a fan. It has a little thing to hang it, and it has a little tripod with legs. But that's pretty much it. And
Yep.
I'm able to put it up in my tent. If I have two of them up there, it circulates there really well. And I
Yeah.
know pretty much everyone travels with a fan. And I don't know if you're out there and you have your favorite fan or something, but you can put it in the comments. But you have a new fan that I really like. It is a cordless charging fan, but it's big. And you
Yeah.
and your wife really have liked this. Tell us about that.
Yeah. It's I think it's a 12 or 15-inch version. It's one we got from Amazon. It's got a decent little battery in it that you recharge, and it's super quiet, like whisper quiet, but it's
Hmm.
basically just like a bigger, heavier duty version of the Claymore fan. Um, and it really moves the air. So
It does. We
yeah.
went camping a couple times this summer when it was really warm.
Hmm.
And I know Arla wouldn't get away from that fan. She was like, "Don't get between
Um,
me and the fan, you'll die."
yeah. Yeah.
So that's pretty neat. Okay,
Yeah.
Overland's in the house. We appreciate them. They are
Yeah.
a sponsor of the show. And if you have a place where you want to go and find a brick and mortar store where you can put your hands on some things, visit Okie Overland in Tulsa, Oklahoma, or you can visit okie-overland.com for all your overland needs. That's what we do.
That's what we do. Yep.
Now there are many fan options out there. I actually have another fan that I got off Amazon that has the legs that you can like wrap around things and attach it to pretty much anything. And I use that to keep the dog cool. I actually have put that in the tent before because it has a light on it, and that's nice. Before I actually ran permanent lights in my tent, I used that because I was able to just have one thing instead of having to carry two things like a light and a fan. I just
Right.
carried the fan with the light. So
Right.
that was good.
I just
Um,
realized before we get off the topic of fans.
okay. You got your fan in there? There it is. That's it. And that is a big fan.
This is the
To be
big fan.
battery powered, that's a large fan.
Yeah. And it's got here's the cable with it that you recharge. But
How long will that run on a charge?
several hours.
Wow.
And like on medium, it's I don't know, 5 or 6 hours probably.
Wow.
I don't
That's a
know. I've
big
never
fan.
really timed it, but you know, 12 or 15-inch fan. It's a
Huh.
great fan.
That's cool. 15-inch fan is pretty good size fan.
I forgot that it was in here.
Well, another thing that I have now, and this is a hot topic with you and your wife, and it is with a lot of people that camp in the summer, is a zero breeze.
Yeah.
Now, I pulled the plug on a zero breeze a couple years ago because they had a pretty good deal on them on a Black Friday, and I've used it several times now. I've used it in small area in my tent, and I've used it in a camping cabin at a KOA because we stayed in a camping cabin at a KOA in Minnesota that did not have an air conditioner. And I turned it on, and it got down into it showed on the temperature. It has a little temperature thing on uh, the the zero breeze itself, which shows the temperature that the air is blowing out. It
Yeah.
did produce a lot of moisture. I had it going in a bucket, and I had to empty that bucket a couple times, but it cooled it off pretty good. So I think it does pretty good in a small place. Now you actually were able to borrow one, at an Okie Overland event this summer, and you were able to experience that. Now, give us your review on that.
Yeah. So Marler Equipment, another sponsor of our show.
Hmm.
Amy and Chris, they went camping with us, and they have a air conditioner in their trailer, so they offered to loan me their Zero Breeze. But we used it in our new 23 tent on a trailer, and me and
Hmm.
my wife and our two dogs slept in there, and we turned it on a couple hours before bedtime, maybe an hour before bedtime,
Hmm.
and let it run, and it did pretty good. Of course, you lose a little cold air when you get in at first,
Hmm.
and so on. But after a little bit, it cooled right down, and it was nice. I mean, it was cool enough in there that you had to get under the covers.
Nice,
So that was
nice.
good
Well,
sleeping.
I think in small spaces it makes a pretty significant difference. And the
Yeah,
time
it's
that y'all were
significant.
camping out at Okie Overland, it was warm. I mean,
Oh, it was
it was
miserable.
not a cool day. It was
Yeah,
miserable hot. Yeah,
yeah,
so it definitely makes a difference. It's not going to make a big difference if you're sitting outside and you have it, pointed towards you. But if you put it in a small space and you turn that thing on, it's gonna work really well. So I've been
yeah,
pretty pleased with it. Now, a couple of things I don't like about it is it's funky shaped. It doesn't stack well. I'm always afraid that I'm going to break it. It's not flimsy, but it's not square, and it's kind of hard to pack. And it does have a
yeah,
lot of pieces.
yeah,
It has the hoses and all this other stuff that's with it. And if you have the battery is huge and heavy.
yeah,
But you can also plug it into a power device or something like that. But for if you're going to be staying in a place that's really warm, I can't sleep when I'm hot, and so it definitely makes it comfortable. So
yeah. I mean, we
Galen says,
just
as Tony mentioned, looks like 50s at night at Big Iron, so that's going to be perfect. I like
yes,
that.
sir. We're
50s
definitely
at
not
night,
going to need an air conditioner at Big Iron.
yeah. Which is the exact opposite the way it was last year in June.
Yeah,
It was
couldn't be more
horrific.
opposite. Yeah,
Yeah, it was awesome, awful, awful. But there are many different companies, and it seems like once a month we're seeing that a new company is coming out with a battery powered air conditioner. I know EcoFlow's got one now. There's another option that you're going to be checking out here pretty soon, made by somebody. I can't remember who that was.
yeah. I'll have to pull that up real quick.
But yeah, it seems like they're all kind of the same shape, kind of the same design or something like that, just in a different case. But there's quite a few of those that are coming out, and I think the one from EcoFlow is quite a bit more powerful than the one from Zero Breeze as well. But the one Zero Breeze actually has a new one um, coming out as well.
Yeah,
Michael comes on from Alaska, says he had frost on the windshield. Well, you almost live in Antarctica, bro. So I
yeah.
imagine that would be,
I'm surprised he doesn't have snow yet.
yeah. Why don't you have snow? You're not high enough. Good to see you, though. Good to see you.
Yes.
Good to hear from you. And I didn't know the internet worked all the way up there, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah. So that company that I may be trying one out from is Ice Cove.
Ice
Um,
Cove.
yeah, that's the brand of the air conditioner. It's
Okay, that's
Ice
cool.
Cove. Yeah.
Woo, Mike's gonna see the Northern Lights tonight, man. I hope that
Yeah.
for you. We were supposed to see them up in Michigan one night, but it ended up being cloudy, and so nobody saw them, and that was
Yeah.
kind of disappointing. So yeah, Michael said they don't need AC up there. I'm sure you do not. I'm sure you don't. Another thing that I really pack heavy in summertime is water. We
hmm
usually try to camp around water to make it easily accessible so we can, take a shower, wash dishes, have drinking water, water the dog. But a lot of times the rivers are down, just like this past weekend when we stayed around Lake Washita. I mean, it was 15, 20 foot down, and the water was murky. It was muddy. You could tell it wasn't getting fresh water in it, and it just
Yeah.
was not something that you would want to bathe in or drink or anything like that. So, always take a lot of water. Always
Yeah.
take a lot of water.
Yeah.
Um, Clothing is different. summer, you're a short guy. I mean, I knew
all
you
the
for
time.
like 2 years before I saw you in anything but shorts.
Yeah,
You wear shorts pretty much year round, t-shirts. Those pack real small and
yeah,
make it where it's easily transportable. It's summertime, they're not bulky, they don't take up a lot of room. I usually wear, you're a tennis shoe guy. I
yeah,
wear open toe shoes. I got some Chacos I like to slip on because they're real easy to put on, getting in the tent, getting out of the tent. I love slip on shoes. So
yeah.
I have graduated from the old man Velcro shoes and have slip on shoes.
That's good to
So
know. And
yeah, good to
I'm,
know. So
yeah,
summertime shoes. Scott, who's on here, wear Crocs all the time. He loves Crocs. And so, he's all about the slip-ons as well. They're just easy, and they're also that also makes it easy where if you want to get in, like this past Saturday when I wanted to fish, I just walked out in the water. My feet are tender. I can't go barefooted on rocks. And so I just walked out there in my shoes, and within 30 minutes, my shoes were dry. So
yeah,
I love my slip-on shoes in the summer.
yeah. I got some Tivas for that. Whenever
Hmm.
I know I'm gonna wade out in the water, and they just dry quick. But
They do, and they're nice. Very,
yeah,
very easy. Bug stuff. If you're in Arkansas, can't go anywhere without bug stuff.
that's one of the
Mosquito
things that I
spray.
leave on the truck year round. It doesn't take that
Year round.
much room, and I just keep it in there.
Thermocell. I always have my thermocell. I love my thermocell. I have the butane one that's got the little cartridges in there. I like that because you don't have to use another kind of gas to power it or electricity or anything like that. It runs for 6, 7 hours on that little thing of butane. Works really well. I've actually turned that thing on in the middle of the summer in Arkansas, and it has like a 20-foot radius. And if you get out of that, it's almost like they're sitting out there waiting on you. It's got like a little force field that it makes. It works really, really well. I
Yeah,
haven't really found something good for the flies yet. I have found that somebody said that if you cut up little chunks of Irish Spring soap,
Irish
it will
Spring.
keep the
Yeah,
flies away. And I have that, and it worked pretty well. I actually took some out and rubbed it on PJ, and it kept PJ uh, from getting bit by the flies when we were up in Michigan. So I guess it does work pretty
really.
well.
Okay,
And
might have to get some Irish Spring. That might be nice to
yeah, it wasn't
try
bad. And I
that.
actually took a little. I shaved it. What I did was I shaved it with our cheese grater, and I
Oh,
put it
okay.
in a Tupperware dish to keep the smell and all that in there. And I would take a little handful and I would rub it on my arms and keep the flies away from me too. So it actually worked pretty well. But
Wow.
thermocell, always have a thermocell. It's just the flies that you have to deal with.
I wonder if it works on mosquitoes. Oh,
I don't know, but if it
yeah,
does, that's all I'm going to be bathing with from
I
here on out.
know.
Yeah.
I know. That would be so cool.
And another trick that I learned a few years ago, I actually saw it on social media, was that on Amazon you can bulk order lemongrass and sage, and if you mix lemongrass and sage, put it in a full pack, and then take some of those full packs with you. Just open the full pack, put a little water on it, close it back up, and stick some holes in it. Throw it on a fire. If you're actually lucky enough to have a cool night to get a fire, that will actually smoke and keep the bugs away, and that actually works really well.
Lemongrass and what?
Lemongrass and sage.
Sage.
You just put it in there, put a little water on it, not to keep it too damp, but just get it
Yeah.
damp a little bit. Poke some holes in the in the tinfoil and throw it on the fire. When it gets hot, it smokes and it
Yeah.
smells really good.
Yeah.
But it will keep the bugs away while you're sitting around the fire. So that's another. That's probably came out of the almanac or something like that. I don't know.
Uh, that might be worth trying because I am bound and determined to sit by a fire next weekend. Not
Yeah.
this
Well,
weekend,
it works. It
but
works.
next weekend.
It works.
Right up here. Right there.
Yeah.
That big iron. I'm sitting at a fire there, come heck or high water.
Heck yeah. Um, a shower. I
Yeah.
always have a shower. I do not like to be sticky when I go to bed. So in the summer, I always have the shower. The overland shower is on the trailer. I know you've got yours installed on the trailer as well. And I always have the geyser in the FJ. So I take that with me everywhere that I go so we can wash off. especially if it's warm outside. During the day, I'll rinse off or wash off just to be clean, and
Yeah.
that's very helpful. So
Like before, is that like before your nap or after?
that's a good question.
Yeah.
Good
Just kind of
question.
depends on the day.
It does depend on the day, and the geyser's also good because it really conserves water.
Yeah.
Um, which
I
sometimes is pretty scarce.
Yeah, I had the opportunity to try out a geyser for the first time on the Go Explore trip,
Yes, you
and
did.
that was amazing.
Oh, you liked it,
Yes,
huh?
I did.
Well, I tell you, we didn't have a lot of water that night, but I filled that tank up on the geyser, and you and I both took a shower with the geyser and still had water when you were done.
There was
That's how
still
little
a
water it used.
yeah,
Yeah.
and so it holds what, a gallon or a little
I think
over a
it
gallon.
said 3 Nalgene bottles, whatever that is. So it's a little over a gallon, I guess.
Yeah,
Might be right out of a gallon. I don't know. I'd
but
have to
both
look
of us
it up.
take a shower is and still have water left over is pretty amazing.
Yeah, it is. Gas and travel. We talked about this earlier. In the summer, summers here are brutal. Most of the time we travel, so we have to factor in time, gas. When we're going somewhere. We went to 13 states this summer to get away from the Arkansas heat. Came back and dreaded coming back. A lot of summers. Last summer we went to uh, Colorado, Utah. You went to Utah, Arizona, and we went to Wyoming, New Mexico, higher elevations to get away from the summer. And as soon as we came back to Big Iron, it was awful. So
Yeah,
you got to factor that in.
yep,
Cooking, man, when it's hot, I don't like to cook. I just don't like to cook when it's hot, and that's one of the fun things to me about camping is cooking. And so that's really kind of down for me in the summer when I can't cook. But we usually have picnics. We'll get out the chicken salad and crackers or meat and cheese, summer sausage, things like that. Um,
charcuterie,
the
little
charcuterie, yeah,
or a snackle box.
the snackle box. I saw that. So you take a tackle box and you put
Yeah,
food in it, and you call
yeah,
it a snackle box.
right.
That's good.
I mean, it's a snackle box.
Yeah, I guess it is. Um, if we do cook, it's something easy where I just have to boil water, and it's like ramen or like the pre-made noodles that you and I came up with. That I told you about that we cooked with. I got out my mini scuttle a couple times last summer and cooked with it, but it's going to be something quick and easy. It's not going
Yeah,
to be some big elaborate meal. So the things that we take to cook with change a little bit summer to winter.
yeah,
And then the extracurriculars. In the summer we take the paddle boards, we take the kayaks. Uh, we don't do much hiking in the summer. We really haven't done a whole lot of hiking at all this summer because the bugs are too bad. Don't want to be covered in ticks like Kara was on the Go
yeah.
Explore. I do carry my fishing gear. I know you have some fishing gear that's real small that you like to carry with you. I have invested in a telescoping spinning rod and also a fly rod from Rare, Reyr gear. It was very expensive, but it is so small. It's 12 inches long and goes out to 10 feet. And it is the coolest thing I've ever had to fish with. It's so neat.
That thing is so cool.
It is. And
Well,
go ahead.
well, I was going to say it telescopes, but not only does it telescope, but you can also leave the line in it,
The
right?
line is attached, the reel is attached, and the fly is attached at all times. So all you do is take it out, you extend it, and you're ready to go. A lot of the fly rods that you travel with, if you don't have one of those big elaborate things to take them in, you actually have to take the reel separate, install the reel, run the wire, and then attach the fly. It's a pain. It's such a pain.
That's my
Uh,
setup.
that's your
I've
setup.
got a case. Yeah, I've got a case that's like, I don't know, 30 inches long,
Mm-hmm.
but the reel stays attached to the main part, and then all the other pieces go on, and then you got to restring it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, it's a pain.
I ain't
It's a
got
pain.
patience for that.
And a couple of years ago when Scott got me into fly fishing, I actually um, I got a knack and really enjoyed looking at the old bamboo fly rods.
Yeah.
I was just enamored, overcome with cool. It's kind of like
Yeah.
having a 50-year-old camp stove that still works. You've got
Yeah.
this piece of bamboo that's 40 years old and it still works.
It's a
And
piece of
so I do
history.
have a couple of those.
Yeah.
I do have a couple of those setups. I just don't take them everywhere, but they are really cool. Cool factor is way up there on those for me.
Yeah.
But summer's a little bit different. Summer's a little bit different than what we do in winter. But like I said, the best time of the year is coming, and it's got me excited when I can sit outside and not sweat. When I can actually have a campfire, when I can actually get out there and cook and not die, and just sit around. The bugs are starting to fade away. It's the most wonderful time of the year. It actually is. And I love it when rendezvous gets close because that's kind of like the time.
Yeah.
That's kind of like the time when things start changing.
So
And
you know how I know whenever the season's coming?
how's that?
Whenever I can go out into the garage and sort through my gear for fall weather without sweating.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's so
'Cause-
nice
yeah, the garage
going
is
out.
usually a telltale sign of the temperature.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
true.
I'm getting ready the next week or so. I'm getting ready to go through all my stuff and pull out my the summer stuff that I don't need
Hmm.
and add in all of the winter stuff. Because back in the spring, I went through and I took out basically just about everything a person would need to start a fire.
Hmm. Don't
Because
need that.
I don't want no more heat.
You don't want
I
to
got rid
make
of.
Arkansas
Mm-mm,
hotter in the
nope,
summer.
nope, nope.
And most
So
of the
I
time
get
we're
rid
in
of
a
all
burn
that
ban
stuff.
anyway. It hadn't rained
Yeah,
here in 6 months, so I'm pretty
yeah,
sure we're in a burn ban now.
yeah.
But
So and in that process, since I've got the new water system on the truck since last winter, I've got to do some, um, you know, t- change the design a little bit so that I can incorporate a way to weatherproof the water system
mm, yeah,
or um, anyway, for when it gets below freezing, I don't want to freeze the pipes or the pump or
yeah,
whatever. So
yeah, you don't want to bust your pump. That's
yeah,
the last thing you
so
want to do. But the
anyway,
first thing that I put in my vehicle um, when it starts getting winter is a heater.
yeah, yeah,
It's kind of funny that in summer it's warm and you don't want to be warm, you want to be cool. But in the winter it's cool and you don't want to be cool, you want to be warm. I never have understood that, but that's kind of the way that the cycle runs. So,
it's so funny that you saying that because guess what I did last night?
what'd you do? Turn the heater on?
I got the diesel heater out and fired it up.
Yeah.
Made sure it was working. It fired right up. It got the temperature and it ran. And I shut it off. I ran it through 3 cycles just to make sure everything was good.
Yeah.
And so yeah,
I,
diesel heater's ready
a
to
lot
go.
of people talk bad about them because they've had bad experiences with them, and I know you've had a few issues with yours, but nothing that you couldn't overcome.
Yeah,
But I am in love with my diesel heater. I absolutely love sitting up there and being able to turn it up or down. I love it running outside. I love not having to worry about kicking it over or burning my tent down or with me in it or
yeah,
anything like that. You just run a hose up there and you're done.
yeah.
It doesn't use a
What?
whole lot of electricity, but I did find out that if you don't have enough battery, it will not run. And most of the time, if you have an issue with your diesel heater, it's because you don't have enough amperages going to your diesel heater. It has to have so many. It doesn't use a lot, but it
Yeah,
has to detect a lot. And
yeah.
so that's a problem a lot of times.
I did some research on this last night. I was watching a video, and what happens is like the Chinese versions that we have, when they ride along, they'll vibrate and they'll shake on the trail. And what happens is, like where you connect the wire to the back of the unit, it's got those two little screw-on posts
Hmm.
on the inside of the case. The nuts that attach the wires inside that run to the electronics inside, those get loose. So you're tightening them on the outside, but you're not getting enough voltage through
Hmm.
that connection.
Makes sense.
And that was something that Kevin from Lifestyle Overland was talking about. He figured out on his unit he wasn't getting enough voltage through,
Hmm.
so he recommended, like once a year, taking the cover off and checking all the terminations and making sure everything's tight. My
Yeah.
issue stemmed from running out of fuel and then
Oh,
having
okay.
to reprime those fuel lines.
Hmm. Yeah.
So
Yeah. That's pretty tough on a diesel.
there's a process for that, and I didn't know what it was, but eventually mine, starting and stopping, eventually it primed itself and it worked out. But
Yeah.
try not to let it run out of fuel.
Yeah. Try not
That's
to.
the
Make
key.
sure it's got plenty in it.
Yeah,
And a lot of times they have a lot of the ones kind of like what you have. The fuel tank on them is just big enough for a night. So I mean, if you're wanting to sleep in or something like that, and you run it a little bit too long, you better check it. You better get out
yeah,
there and check it because the fuel tank is just big enough for about 7 or 8 hours.
yeah.
And after that, you better be putting fuel in it.
Well, I think there's a couple of schools of thought with that. The ones that the folks that run one all night long, they have to leave their windows open a little bit more to control the temperature,
Mm-hmm.
and we opt to close the windows as much as possible, and then we just cycle the heater on a couple of times during the night. So we actually don't burn that much fuel.
Hmm.
We just wake up when it gets cold and turn it on, and when it gets hot, we
Yeah.
turn it
Mine
off.
is mine is one that's made in like one of the Pelican cases from Yona,
Oh, Yona, yeah.
and he actually has a Rotopax on there. So mine actually has a like a 2 gallon Rotopax on it, so it'll run for
It'll
days.
run for 3 days.
Yeah, it'll run for a long time. So I actually do leave mine on and open the windows just because I like the cooler air coming
Yeah,
in, circulating and
yeah,
stuff. So I've really got it down to an art how we do it, and I love sleeping in. Oh my gosh, the last time we used it, you and I were with Scott and the fish camp guys down on the Buffalo River, and I think it got down to about 22 degrees that night.
It was 18. There was
18,
one guy down there. He checked it on his truck. It was 18 degrees.
18 degrees,
Yeah.
and I slept like a baby. I mean, it was
Hmm.
so warm in there. It was so nice.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to come out in the morning because I knew how cold it was outside. But
Yeah.
love my diesel heater.
Now
And
that particular night, mine did run all night.
yeah,
I
I'm
didn't
sure it
cycle
did
mine
because it was
that
cold. I mean, it did. It was cold. I
Yeah.
also carry a little Covea heater. It's
Yeah.
small. You can put it in there, and it's comes in a little square box, so it's easily stackable. I never leave home without it because I have had trouble with my diesel heater, and I use it as a backup. I've also had to use it as a stove one time when I ran out of propane because it runs off butane. That's one thing I don't like about it. It's a different fuel source that I have to carry. But it is nice to have it as a backup. It does not have a shut off. If you turn it over, it will still keep burning. And it does have a flame on it. So I am kind of worried about having a real flame and sleeping because I toss and turn in my
Yeah.
tent, set my tent on fire while I'm in there. So
Yeah.
I do worry about
That's
that.
always a concern.
Yeah, especially something like with a buddy heater that's tall and skinny.
Hmm.
That's what a lot of people have started out with because they're so cheap and readily available, and they run off, the green bottles, or you can pop in a 20 pounder or whatever. But uh, number one, their oxygen sensor is so sensitive. You better have all your windows open because if that oxygen sensor goes off, it will go off and it will not relight.
Yeah.
And then there is, trying to sleep and not turn the thing over. Sometimes it just, I don't know, worries me, especially in a rooftop tent. When
I
I was
have
in
a
the
hard
ground tent,
time.
it was fine.
Yeah.
Worries me.
I have a hard time sleeping with those things, like the buddy heater. And there's times where I'll use, I don't take the buddy heater with me anymore, but um, in lieu of taking the diesel heater, if it's just like in the 40s or something, 30s, 40s,
Hmm.
sometimes I'll use my jet boil burner,
Yeah.
because in a small tent, that jet boil burner puts out enough heat in just a couple of minutes.
Yeah.
The time it would take to boil water, it would
Yeah.
warm up the tent just fine.
Hmm.
So
That's a good
I
idea.
just I just turn them off. I just sit up there. I sit upright, wait for it to get warm, turn it off, and then
Hmm.
I go to sleep.
Good idea. Good idea.
Anyway,
Another thing that is probably one of my favorite pieces of gear now. I've had it for just a little bit, but we have been able to enjoy it. Is the Trail Fire Grill that I got from Okie Overland. Kyle and Tate turned me on to this when they had it there. It is actually a propane fire pit that you can cook on. It's
yeah,
got like a little scuttle thing with it, but I've never had a propane fire pit before, and this is the first time. And we carry it around in our trailer. It's way too big to go in the FJ, but we carry that
yeah,
thing and love it. It is so nice. It puts off so much heat, especially if you have um, the original fire deflector. It's really
yeah,
nice if you put those two together.
yeah. So that's another piece of equipment that's going to rotate back into the winter setup.
Yeah, yeah,
The
for sure.
the original fire reflector.
Yeah, there's the original fire deflector. That's right.
There's a spot right next to my solar panel. It's right there next to
I
it.
also carry a fold out. Uh, it's just a wood fire pit is probably what it is, what you would call it. But it's something you can actually put wood in. Not every place that you go in camp actually has a fire ring or anything like that, and this will keep it where you can actually sit around or anything like it. It has a grate you can cook with it. If you have some charcoal or something like that, that's usually what I make my desserts and stuff on when I'm cooking for everybody. So um, it fits down in a front runner box, real small, portable, nice. Um, Pretty much stays in the FJ all year long, and that's just because I'm too lazy to take it out. But I never use it in the summer.
Yeah,
But I will use it in the winter. So lots of different ways to keep everything heated when it's cold.
yeah. Remind me when you're here this weekend. I keep forgetting to show you that Professor Betts and Friends branded
Oh yeah,
fire pit
the
that
fire
I've
pit
got.
that you put together. Yeah, I need to
Yeah,
see that.
I've
That's
had that
cool.
for months and months, and we've never had a chance to use it. So
Yeah, that'd
maybe
be something.
maybe
We may
maybe
can light that
rendezvous.
up at Rendezvous. That'd be
Yeah,
cool.
that might be the
Yeah,
centerpiece of our some of our podcasting. So
huge. Yeah, that'd be cool.
anyway,
Um, blankets. Blankets. A lot of times during the summer, all I'll have is a rumple. I'll sleep on top of my sleeping bag and just throw a rumple on top. I have to have covers. I just can't sleep with uncovered, so I just put a rumple on top of me. But in the wintertime, I have some. Uh, I found some wool blankets at a military surplus store that are from Poland, and they're real soft, and I love those. They're real warm. I actually keep one under my sleeping bag, and that's an old trick that somebody taught me. Instead of having the covers on top of you, have the covers underneath you, and it will actually keep you warm as well, give you another piece of insulation. I used to sleep with a 12-volt electric blanket, and that was amazing. You really don't
mm,
even have to have a heater when you do
yeah,
that, but you better have a lot of battery,
yeah,
because I had a Jackery 1000 and it took it down to 20% from 100% in 8 hours one night. And I only did that because my heater did not work, and that's the only thing that kept me from freezing to death because it got cold.
yeah,
Uh, but don't use that anymore, and that mainly because it's just way too much electricity. It's way more efficient to have a heater, and so I don't use that anymore. But I do have my rumples up there. Like the other night, I had mine, she had hers, and we were just perfect. So
See,
works
my
pretty
my
well.
bedding setup won't change. I carry the same bedding for the winter as I did, all through the summer. I just sleep on top of it.
On top of it, that's
Yeah,
pretty much what I do. I keep my tent has a moisture barrier under the
yeah,
bottom, so 1 inch moisture barrier, and then it has a mattress, and then on top of that mattress, I have the wool blanket, a double sleeping bag, which if it's hot, I won't get in it. I'll just lay on top of it with my rumple. If it's cool, I'll get in it with my rumple on top of that.
yeah,
So yeah, all that stays the same. It's always in there. It just depends on how cool it is and where I sleep. Yeah,
yeah.
that's what changes.
Yeah, and then the addition of heat,
The
the
addition
jet
of
oil
heat.
burner,
That's correct.
something like that. So yeah, bedding doesn't change for me. I pack my clothes. I don't keep any clothes in the rig, so I pack the clothes accordingly every trip.
Mm.
So
Clothes change.
yeah,
No longer shorts and t-shirts. You've got pants. Sometimes, depending on
I'll
how
wear
cold it
pants when
is,
it's
I'll have a base
19.
layer.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
wear pants. I'll probably
yeah,
wear two pair of
that's when
pants
you
when
wear
it's
pants.
19.
I always have a puffy coat or a vest, and try to make it where the things that I take are still easily packable, not real bulky. A lot of the jackets, coats that you see people walking around looks like they have to have a trash bag to put them in. They're so puffy.
Hmm.
But if you have enough base layers on, you don't need that. Just a small, packable puffy coat. Always keep that in there. Um, and my shoes change. I don't wear open-toed shoes anymore. I do have some Tevas that are puffy shoes that are slip-ons because I
Yeah,
like the slip-ons. They're easy to take off, easy to put on. So my
yeah,
shoes change a little bit.
yeah. I usually have the same shoes. I don't really. I mean, I bring hoodies. I like hoodies.
Yeah.
I think probably the vast majority of the hoodies that I have now came from Shop Overland Apparel. They have really good quality hoodies, and
Hmm.
I'll just layer up t-shirts underneath and put a hoodie on, and I'm good.
Same here. Same here.
Unless there's wind.
Yeah.
If it's 20 degrees and windy,
That's tough.
I'm probably packing up and going home.
you
If there's no place to get out of the wind.
you remember when we were in Wyoming and it was like 25 degrees and raining and windy
Yes,
and we had the walls set up. I think it was on
it
your
was on
rig
my,
or
yeah,
on your
yeah.
rig?
I had, yeah,
Had the
yeah,
walls on your rhino rack and we had the propane fire pit set up and we could not get close enough to that thing. I mean, it
no,
was so stinking cold.
no. The wind was
Uh,
blowing. It was weird. It was below freezing, and there's no explanation for why it wasn't snowing,
yeah,
but it was kind of
because it was
raining,
raining.
misting. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
It was
yeah,
really
we were.
odd. And finally, we were just like, screw it. I'm getting in the tent, going to bed. I don't care if it's 5 o'clock in the afternoon or
Yeah,
not.
yeah,
uh, Shower. I still always carry my geyser with me because I do like to stay clean. I'm not one of those that can go 2 weeks without a shower. But what really changes from summer to winter is I'll take showers in the middle of the day when it's warm.
yeah.
A lot of times in Arkansas, it'll get up to in the 80s in the middle of the day, and then it'll drop down in the 50s or 40s, 30s at night. And so I'll shower in the middle of the day instead of in the evening. So that's pretty much what changes with that.
Yeah, we
Cooking
were.
setup changes. I love cooking in the winter. I'll get out the Scottle from Timbo Tusk. That's probably my go-to thing, whether it's the small adventure Scottle or the full size. I have finally, in all my years of working overtime and overlanding, I finally saved up, got my dream stoves. So I have two partner steel stoves and the JetBoil Genesis, and love all of them. They're
Hmm.
so cool, cook so fast, and I love to bring out the steel skillets from Lodge and put something in there, and just create something. I absolutely love it. So cooking definitely changes. It's so much more fun when it's not hot, and love that.
So back on the shower situation,
Yeah, come
I
on.
had a question for you. Have you ever heated your shower enclosure?
I have. I was camping with Lee from Overland Radio. We were doing the what do you call it? Rockies, the Enchanted Rockies Trail.
Enchanted Rockies.
And
Okay.
we were in New Mexico, way up high, and he had a really good shower on his Opus, and he started up the diesel heater and ran the hose underneath the shower enclosure, and it was heaven. It was something that I had never experienced. Now this was 3 4 years ago, but I had never experienced this before in my life, where you actually, took the hose out of your tent, put it in your shower tent just on the bottom, and let the heat rise while you took the hot shower, and then when you turned the water off, it was still warm.
Hmm.
That was the coolest thing amazing, amazing. And I was able to just stand in there and dry off, change clothes, and then when I came out of the shower tent, I was like, "Oh my goodness!" I couldn't believe how cold it was outside. But
Yeah,
that was neat.
I think we're gonna try that next weekend at Big Iron.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So for those of you that may not know, Tom with the Overland Shower,
Hmm.
he's coming out with a plastic case version, and I may have one of those at Big Iron to try out. If y'all want to come by, listening, you want to come by and take a peek at it. But yeah,
That's cool.
I think I might be taking a shower at night using the diesel heater
That's awesome.
and that. I'm gonna
That'd
try
be
that.
awesome. That'll be neat. That'd be neat to see. The extracurriculars, um, unless it's nice where it's not just freezing cold. I love doing a float in the fall, in the spring, but if it's just cold, I'm not taking a chance on getting dumped in freezing water. So we usually leave the kayaks and uh, inflatable paddle boards at home.
Yeah.
We do a lot more hiking, backpacking. My wife and I, we love this. We're definitely going to get some exercise during the winter months. That's mainly the time. She was telling me the other day, I cannot wait to get back into hiking. So we definitely do that
So
more than
so your setup in the fall will include more hiking gear,
it
or
will. We actually take our
yeah,
backpacks.
yeah,
I take my
nice.
hiking backpack, and it's actually a time when PJ can actually walk a trail with us instead of having to be carried on our back
Yeah,
on in the
yeah.
backpack.
Hunting
So
the shade spot.
yeah, shade spot. Yeah. So yeah, we'll definitely carry a backpack that's got hydration, water bottles. Yeah, I've got a new smaller Grail that I'm trying out this year. It's not the big giant one that I take in my FJ that I always never leave home
Oh,
without, but I've got the
you get a
smaller
smaller
version,
one. Nice.
and so it's actually will fit in my backpack. So yeah, we won't leave home without that because we want to make sure that we got water. But we'll do that. Mountain biking, we'll take the bikes, especially Northwest Arkansas. We'll do that, and I'm always carrying my fishing gear. I don't care if it's cold or not. I can catch fish just about any time. I
Yeah,
really regret several times in camping when I'm, especially at the Big Piney. I pull up at the Big Piney and there's just fish everywhere, and I don't have anything to catch them with. So I'm not leaving home without fishing gear anymore. It just
well,
gives me something to do, and I love it.
we both have gear that collapses down and doesn't take up much space. So
Yeah,
that's one of those things that the commitment to space doesn't really impact a whole lot.
right.
So
Yeah,
it can stay there.
that doesn't impact, and it's worth the investment to do that. There's so many. You look on Amazon and search telescoping, fishing rod. They've got combos out there that are $40, and it's worth it. It's good
Yeah,
quality stuff.
yeah.
You can get a spin. I've got spin casts. I've got bait casters. And when we took a big trip up to the Boundary Waters, I went with several guys, and they were only able to take one pole because their poles were so big. I took four, and my four was smaller than their one.
Yeah,
And it was so much easier on me instead of changing baits all the time. I just changed whole poles.
yeah.
It was
Well,
nice.
when it stays, whenever your rod stays, strung up and
Yeah,
the lure on it, you just pull it out of your
just pull
truck
it
and
out. It's ready. Yeah, and they were having to put all this stuff together. So it's worth the investment. Worth the
yeah,
investment. Um, Bug stuff. I'm always taking my off. You just never know when it's going to get warm and the mosquitoes are going to come back to life. Always taking bug stuff. Never go anywhere without my thermocell. And I found on eBay there's people who refill those butane cartridges for the thermocells, and they're a tenth of the price of what you can get them anywhere. You can get them like 10 for $8.
yeah,
And normally you go down to Dick's Sporting Goods and you get two of them for $15. And
yeah.
so, I order them off eBay. Always keep a bunch of them with me, and always keep the bug stuff with me.
Yeah, all the
Now,
time. That stuff stays in. And when my daughter was little, she would say, Daddy, what's your biggest fear? You know, and I used to say, well, April 15th is probably my biggest fear. And she was like,
Tax
what?
day.
Yeah, that's tax day. But, you know, like nowadays, it for me, one thing that
Oh,
I
I
do
know what
not
you're
want
gonna
to
say.
happen
Yeah.
is the losing the ability to eat red meat.
Yeah. The tick bite.
The
The
tick
tick bite.
bites,
And it
the
seems like
Lyme's
that's
disease, and
happening
the
more
things.
and more and more.
Yes, yes. So
Mm,
I don't mess around. The
that is a
tick and flea
fear.
stuff stays in the truck.
That is a fear. That
Yeah.
definitely is. Gas and travel, it's nice to finally be able to stay in our state. We have a beautiful state. I'm about 20 miles from the Ouachitas, about an hour from the Ozarks. You're up there close to the Ozarks. And it's nice to be able to experience some of our state. I was born in this state. I've lived here 52 years. And
Yep.
there's so much of it I have not seen. And so it's nice fall, winter, spring to be able to get out and enjoy and see some things. Saturday, we went to the Crystal Mines. I'd never been there. I'd
I
never
didn't
been there
even know there
before.
were any until you
Yeah,
brought it up, and I was like, "What?
yeah.
Digging for crystals?" I thought you were pulling my leg at first, and I was like, "No." Sure enough, he's going
And,
digging for crystals.
to be honest with you, I was not that excited about it. But when we got out there, and my wife was just jumping for joy. I mean, she got her shovel and she got her, pail. She's a science teacher. She's a weirdo, but
Shoot.
she was just so excited to get out there. But when I saw the first one, and I thought somebody had worked on it. I thought somebody had milled it square on all sides and put a point on the end. And she said, "This is what I'm looking for." And I said, "You found that in the dirt? It's that. How does it
That's the
do
way
that?"
it. That's the way it was hatched, like
That's
that.
the way it
That's the way it
came.
came out.
And then I turn around and 10 minutes later I find one. I'm like, somebody put this here. This,
Yeah.
somebody made
Where's
this
the
and dumped these out
Where's
here.
the
This is
cameras?
yeah,
Somebody's
where's the
playing a
cameras at?
prank on us.
Now, I do want to do something. We were at Home Depot yesterday and they've got all these skeletons and stuff that you can buy to decorate outside. I want to take one of those down there to the crystal mines and bury it in the dirt. I think that would be freaking hilarious to watch somebody dig that thing up. Uh, or go down there and just pretend like you dug it up and then start
Yeah.
some big investigation. I think that'd
Yeah,
be
I
awesome.
want to, I want to, I want to bury one of those under my porch so that 40, 50 years from now, whenever somebody else owns my home and they want to replace the porch, and they're,
Yeah, yeah. Dig up a
yeah,
skeleton.
they,
They'll think you killed somebody and buried it. That's my mother-in-law. I
yeah,
buried her back here. Oh my goodness. Well, uh, it's nice to be able to get out and see things in our state
yeah,
that I've never seen before. That place, that River Bluff place that we found, I'd never been there, never knew it existed. I saw the sign, drove 6 miles down a dirt road, and there it was. And I mean, it was fan freaking tastic.
yeah,
So there's so many places to get out and experience, and I love our state, and I love being able to do that. So whatever it is, it's a wonderful transition from summer to fall and winter, and I absolutely love this time of year. It is the best time of year, the most wonderful time of the year. People say that about Christmas, but when it gets cooler, that to me is the most wonderful time of the year
yeah.
because we can actually
I
get
agree.
outside and enjoy.
I agree, buddy.
Love it. Absolutely
We
love it.
get to enjoy the outdoors with friends and family, share the campfires and such. So
Yeah, yeah, it's cool.
yeah,
Well, it's been a good talk. I hope you learned something. I learned something. I'm going to get one of them fans like what you got, Tony. I think those are cool, especially by
yeah,
next summer, to help cool us off when we go down to the Buffalo and do those floats and stuff. I'm going to heat my shower enclosure. I think that's going to be fun.
I know.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
I'm looking forward to that. I think that's going to be cool.
It's going to be cool, and I can't wait to get out my propane fire pit and sit around with you in a couple weeks at Rendezvous. We're going to have a show next week, and it's going to be good. In a few weeks, we got the guys from Natural State Overland going to come up before Rendezvous and talk about the new stuff that they have coming out this year and why you want to register. Make sure and go to naturalstateoverland.org and register for Rendezvous in the Ozarks. It's going to be on Mulberry Mountain October
October 12th through the 14th.
12th through the 14th. It's going to be cool, and we'll be there. And I want to come by and talk to you in person. Jared's going to be there selling shirts. Everybody's going to be there. I love the vendors that are going to be. It's going to be like a big family reunion. I can't wait. Anyway, on behalf of Tony and myself, thank you for joining us. I appreciate you being here. This is going to be live on all podcast platforms under the Overland Podcast. So we have 6 seasons that you can go and listen to. So make sure and look up the Overland Podcast on all podcast platforms. While you're driving down the road, turn off that junk country music, turn off that junk hip hop music, and turn on the Overland Podcast. Daggone right. All right. Hope you have a wonderful week. Whatever you do, look out for number 1 and don't step in number 2.
Praise God. You was to be looking on the Gaia maps.
Yeah.
GAIA maps.
Yeah.
You would notice that we are a heck of a long ways from where we started and from where we're going.